Hello! So today I'm going to be talking about The Heroes by Joe Abercrombie. The Heroes is the second standalone novel in the First Law universe. It focuses on a brutal 3-day battle between the Union and the Northmen. Of course, it goes without saying that even though this is a standalone novel, there are lots of characters that appear in this novel in previous novels, and I really do think that you need to have read all of the books leading up to this one, really, to get the most out of it. There's lots of things that happen to characters in all the previous books that you sort of get familiar with in this book. And if you haven't read those books, then yeah, I just think you're missing out. The story of this novel is centered around a kind of strategic hill known as the Heroes. The novel dives deep into the lives of various characters on both sides of the conflict. We get into their hopes, their dreams, their desires, and all of these things are coming to fruition whilst this battle is building. The book features a large ensemble cast, and I mean a large ensemble cast. There's a lot of characters in this novel, and it ranges from like very experienced kind of fighters that we've seen in previous books to very inexperienced soldiers and how nervous they are about the journey they're going on, and we follow them as they sort of grow through the battle. Also, we have the dealings of sort of like the political leanings that are happening on both sides as the battle's kind of played out, and the sort of strategies being put in place. If you're looking for a book that goes into the tiny details of a battle, looking at it from multiple characters, all the different sides, from the political strategies taking place to the kind of manoeuvring and kind of positioning of different people within the war, this book covers everything. So if you are into sort of like army, war, battle books, those kind of things, military strategy, all of those are kind of things, then this is definitely the book for you. And I will say right now, and I've already said it, but I did mention that this book has a large, I mean a large cast of characters. So here you go.
A skim dam diddly boo boo, a rim dam diddly dee dee. All the characters on the screen, moving too fast for you to read. A rim bam biddly bum bye, a rim bam biddly boo boo, a rim dim dee, rim dum do, rim dum shimly bum bum ba bo. All those characters coming round, flying past the screen right now. Rim bam biddly bum boo, a rum bum bella tundu. Shivers is there, did you see him go by? Bam bam biddly boo boo, a rin dan diddly reedy. Rolling, scrolling, rolling round, rolling, scrolling, rolling round. A rim bam biddly bim bye. So many characters, too many characters. This novel has so many characters, incidental characters. Bam.
So, what did I like and what didn't I like? What I liked. It's going to get a bit boring now if you have watched any of my previous First Law reviews, but the characters. Oh, the characters. Joe Abercrombie has quite a few superpowers, everybody. It's why he is so loved. It's why I'm absolutely really enjoying all of his novels, even his books that I've, not necessarily given massive sort of ratings to, they're still excellent. Or at least, at the very least, very, very good books. And yeah, the characters. They are rich, complex, they are unique. They all have very distinctive voices. He's just so good, and I cannot say it enough. He is so good in such a short amount of time bringing these characters to life. You might have a simple scene around a campfire or out in the woods while characters are sort of hiding out ready to ambush maybe another troop of soldiers or something like that, and you just get this sort of dialogue and conversation between these characters. And if it's Northmen, they have a certain kind of dialect and a certain sort of like way that they talk to each other, and then the Union and the way that they kind of it's just, yeah, the characters are brilliant. The next thing I absolutely loved is the tone of this novel. It's in keeping with everything Joe Abercrombie has done before, but because I'm reading all his books in order that they were published, I'm really starting to see him refining his craft and just getting better and better and better. And I am so in with the tone and the style of Joe Abercrombie's work now. I know exactly what I'm getting, yet he can still surprise me. And the tone and the way it works, he's able to just mix sort of like really funny moments with really funny characters, and just in a second, like switch to something really, really dark that's kind of really makes you think. And yeah, so stylistically, it's a big win. The next thing that I really liked is the battle scenes. Joe Abercrombie is absolutely fantastic at action and describing action, and I think he did a great job on bringing a really varied and meticulously detailed depiction of this battle, the building of the battle, and the sort of like, the war in general. And the moments where we have battle scenes, he just does them so well. I'm never, ever confused. I'm not going to lie, sometimes I'm not the brightest penny, and for some like really kind of hardcore fantasy that's really sort of, with detailed magic systems that sometimes goes a bit over my head. Sometimes the action, I just get a little bit lost. I'm just a little bit like, who's fighting who now? What's happening? And I never get that with a Joe Abercrombie novel. And yeah, if battle scenes is your thing, then this is definitely another book for you. And the final thing I really enjoyed is the themes of this book. It definitely is saying a lot about the futility of war, the pointlessness of war, and how all these lives are lost, and the stupidity of the politics at play for just a piece of land. You know what I mean? Like, it kind of, and the more you get swept up, and it's quite a large novel, the more you sort of get into the flow of this novel, yeah, you just start realizing like how pointless and futile what it is they're doing is, and without spoiling things, almost like kind of how this cycle is just going to repeat itself, and this sort of battle between the Northmen and the Union is just going to carry on for forever, as if it's preordained to just keep happening and happening. Like, land is just going to keep being passed backwards and forwards. These wars are going to keep happening. People are going to lose their lives. Because yeah, it's just cyclical. And I thought what it was saying was really, really interesting, especially if you think about all the previous books, especially the first 3 books, and what's happened between the Union and the Northmen before, and how these things keep repeating themselves. And I'm really excited for how I personally think, I'm predicting it now, and I think I might be right, but the final trilogy, the final 3 books that comes, I've got one more standalone to do. I'm really interested in how that cycle is going to get broken, because I feel like it has to. In order for this series to end, I feel like this cycle that we're seeing between the North and the Union, and these things that are taking place, and also other things with the wizard Baez and all that jazz, and you'll know what I mean if you've read the previous books, I feel like that's got to get broken in the final 3 books, and I'm really excited for seeing that take place. What didn't I like? So I never thought I was going to say this, but there is a large cast of characters in this novel. A much larger cast than any of the previous novels. And I've just read Best Served Cold, which I think has like probably the shortest cast list out of them all. And this one, there's a lot of characters going on in this one, and a lot of subplots. And I'm not going to lie, there were a couple of times where I did have to just stop and go back and have a little think about, have I met this character before? And that's probably on me as a reader, as opposed to the book itself. And probably if I go back and have another reread, it would all become much clearer. But yeah, I'm not going to lie to you. There is a lot of characters. There are a lot of subplots taking place. And I did get a little bit lost at times. So I felt like maybe the cast list of this one was a bit too big. I mean, I know exactly what he's doing. It needed to be that big to cover all the different aspects of this battle. But for me, yeah, it was just a bit... At times, I eventually got on top of it, but yeah, just at times I was a bit like, there is a lot of characters in this book. The next thing I didn't quite like, and again, I feel like people are going to come at me in the comments for this one, and it could just be me and where I'm at right now as a human being, but I didn't emotionally connect to the characters or to this book as much as I have previous books. And that's even Best Served Cold, which I thought the protagonist I couldn't quite connect to, but I could other characters. For me, this book out of them all is the one I didn't have as strong an emotional connection to the characters with. And that might simply be because it's a war book about war and the strategies of battle, and that doesn't allow a lot of access for you really connecting emotionally. And there are moments where it's allowing you those gaps, but because it's got so much to cover and so many characters to cover, I feel like the book is just consumed by the task it's trying to do on how detailed it's trying to be about this 3-day battle, that it hasn't allowed for that space in the margin, that space for us to kind of really connect to characters. So yeah, for me, I just wasn't as emotionally invested in the characters in this one as I have been the others. And the final thing I didn't like, and again, I'm going to lean on the fact that maybe I just wasn't in the mood for a war book, that was just war. But I need something a little bit more varied in the fiction that I read. I can appreciate this book, and I had a very good time reading this book. But overall, I enjoy the other books, especially that first 3 trilogy and the second 2 books, because they're more balanced. They have sort of, there's different, the pacing is different, the theme is different, what it's trying to do, or what they're trying to do as novels is a little bit different. And for me, yeah, I'm just not a massive like military strategy guy. It's just not what I go to. I love battle scenes and I love the kind of build and maneuvering, but I like it to be enriched with loads of other things. And this just does one thing, and it does one thing really, really, really well, but it's not the thing I particularly go for in fiction. So, but if anyone's going to be able to make me enjoy it, it's Joe Abercrombie. And I think a novel like this in the hands of anyone else, I probably would be giving it quite a poor review. But because it's Joe Abercrombie, he has managed to make a book like this, like a really good read for me. So there you go, that's my very quick review on The Heroes by Joe Abercrombie, the second standalone novel. I'm not going to lie though, even though this wasn't as a positive review as some of the others, his books are just really good fun. They are just really good. And I'm absolutely having, I'm having a blast reading these books. I'm really enjoying reading them in order. I'm enjoying playing the game in my head of which one is my favourite and where they all slot into. And they are all so sort of different and unique. And that is why Joe Abercrombie is amazing. His ability to somehow write a novel that absolutely exists within the universe of books that he's writing. It absolutely lives there and breathes there. It has all the trappings of what makes his novels great, but yet he shifts them just slightly, or a different kind of spin and approach that just works. And it's just interesting, and it must have been keeping things really interesting for him, and it keeps things really interesting for us as a reader. And yeah, I just applaud him for his approach to this series. Ace. Right, now before I do my little sign-off, which will come, I have to do a big shout-out to the old PLEC community. A little shout-out to Kieran from KD Books. He sent me a screenshot of someone in the PLEC group who said that they were a big fan of the floating head thumbnails that I used to do and I've stopped doing. And I've brought them back, all right? I brought them back for this video, and I'm bringing them back out of absolute respect to all the PLEC community. All right, you're plecking great. So I think from now on, for the immediate future, all my book reviews, the floating head with maybe the little stickman body is coming back, and it's for you. All right, so yeah. So have you read The Heroes, and if so, what did you think about it? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Please let me know in the comments below. Also, I'm really keen and interested, if you want to, on people's rankings of the books. However, because I'm not up to date, don't do a ranking of all of the books yet. If you've got the time and you want to, could you rank maybe your favourites from The Blade itself up to The Heroes? So from those books, what's that? 1, 2, 3, 4, that's 5 books. What would your ordering be of those? I've got mine in my head, but I think I'm gonna wait. But I'm just really interested in people's sort of, did they absolutely love The Heroes and absolutely hate Best Served Cold, or is it vice versa? Yeah, let me know. Except you, Overly Average Ben, don't you let me know, because Ben has agreed that once I have finished all of the First Law books, that Ben is going to do a little kind of joint video with me, and we're going to rank our favourites. So that will come, who knows, at some point in the future when I manage to finish all these books, that's going to happen. So yeah, Ben, don't you let me know your order just yet. Thanks for watching, everybody. I hope you're well, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye.